This is the Sean Hannity Show podcast.
All right, thanks, Scott Shannon. Glad you're with us. The hot news, the burning issues, has nothing to do with the temperature, by the way. The Sean Hannity Show. Happy Friday. We made it. All right, so what happened at the House conference meeting at 9 a.m. this morning? I did have a few spies in there, so I can't disclose what I've discovered, but Congressman Louis Gohmert was there, and to the extent that he's able, he's going to fill us in. How are you, Congressman?
As far as I know, I'm okay.
No, I haven't spoken to you today, unfortunately. I was trying to get you. I was hoping you'd be a spy, but you weren't around. What were you doing?
Well, I've been battling all morning long, and actually I met with a number of other members of Congress. We were trying. There were a number of us that have a prioritization bill of different kinds, and we were wanting to come together on one so that we could push and say, look, the president's trying to scare our seniors, trying to scare the military, trying to scare people that we might not pay our debts. We've got enough money to do all that. Social Security is separate. It has its own trust fund. There is no reason in the world the checks should not go out and would not go out unless the president orders that they don't. The money's there. The trust fund has got the Treasury notes to take care of. And so we were looking at prioritizing that, and then we had a conference, and then I just rushed back from the House floor just now to call in to
what happened
American.
Let's go to what happened at the meeting this morning, because reports are that the leadership feels that this deadline, in fact, is rock solid. I argue against that. I think you agree with me.
I absolutely agree with you. And Steve Moore, on the Wall Street Journal editorial board, he was up here yesterday saying, there's nothing magic about August 2nd, and I guarantee you we're not going to default on our debts come August 2nd or August 3rd, whatever you do. Geithner is not so stupid that he would let that happen, and the money's there to take care of that. But our leadership is concerned that if we let August 2nd go by and we have not done something, then it'll be a calamity. And I don't agree with that. And normally in most of our conferences, we will get, a rock-solid direction. Here's where we're going. Here's what we're going to do. But really, Sean, there was more time today spent. There's no telling how many dozen people stepped up and took the 1 minute each of us can have to say what we thought. And there was more of that than anything else. The main thing from the leadership was, from the speaker was he didn't think we could afford to go past August 2nd. He didn't think we had leverage all that much after August 2nd. And I really agree with Jim DeMint and Mike Lee and Senator Johnson and some of our great senators that have said, they think our leverage increases after August 2nd. Because especially with the House having passed cut, cap, and balance. And then, Sean, it is infuriating to think that a majority of the senators would come onto the Senate floor and vote not to have good debate, not to at least bring up the balanced budget or a cut, cap, and balance to discuss and debate and to bring those great notions to bear and discuss the pros and cons. They voted not even to allow debate. And if you followed, I had a quote from one article here that said, Reid, after the vote that refused to allow the cut, cap, and balance to be debated and voted on the Senate floor, he said that revenue bills must originate in the House under the Constitution, so we have to wait for the House to send us something. Now, Sean, that tells us so much about the way that Harry Reid is thinking. His thinking is, I don't want cut, cap, and balance because I don't want cuts and I don't want a balanced budget. What I want is a tax bill. I want more taxes because under the Constitution, Article 1, Section 7, it says all bills raising revenue shall originate in the House of Representatives. That's what he's talking about. So he wants a tax bill. He doesn't want cuts. He doesn't want a balanced budget. Just send me a big tax bill because we're not cutting our spending.
Well, I guess the question the only area of concern I have, and I've got to give props where props are due. You guys did vote to repeal Obamacare. Credit.
Yep.
You guys did pass the Ryan plan. I'll give you guys a lot of credit.
Of course,
you guys
under the Ryan plan, it doesn't balance for 25 or 6 years, and we can't wait that long to balance. But it was a start.
It's a start. I agree with you. I'm totally on board with you. And you passed the cut, cap, and balance bill, which I think was the best one. So my question now is, if the leadership feels that they have to meet this August 2nd deadline, which I don't understand why they don't see that they've got all the cards in their hands. They've already passed something. The president's not put anything down on paper. The Senate's not done anything. There is no plan anywhere by any Democrat.
Exactly.
Why does the leadership feel they need to do anything right now except wait for the president's plan?
Well, I think we need to be out there messaging, but I agree with you. I don't think we need to pass anything more from the House. We have passed a good bill, and the truth is, the way the procedure is here in Congress, if two houses, House and Senate, pass anything, no matter how divergent it is, then the thing you do from there is have a conference committee and you work out a compromise between the two bills. Sean, they could have taken up today, cut, cap, and balance. They could have stripped out the balanced budget amendment. They could have stripped a lot of stuff out and still voted on something, and we would have had a conference committee before August 2nd, and we would have worked this whole thing out. They don't want to pass anything because they don't want to compromise. It's clear Reid wants a tax bill, and let me just tell you this as an aside. He says properly that the Constitution, Article 1, Section 7, says bills raising revenue originate in the House, but, Sean, the truth is, they violated that but got around it by technicality with Obamacare.
Well, they used the reconciliation process because they didn't have the votes.
On Obamacare, it had taxes in there, which meant it was revenue raising, but they took a House bill and a House number that was the Service Members Home Ownership Tax Act that gave a tax credit to veterans buying homes for the first time of 2009. And their bill starts out by deleting line 1, page 1 through the end of the bill, every word, and substituting therefore, and then they had Obamacare. So it technically started in the House, but it was a bill to help veterans. They stripped out every word that helped veterans and substituted, therefore, Obamacare to get around Section 7 of Article 1. So he knows how to play these games when he wants to, but he does not want a debate. He doesn't want a conference committee. They want to be able to spend whatever they want to spend, and they want to raise taxes. That's
Listen, it's very important that you highlight this, which is why I really am glad you're doing that. And I guess now the problem is, where do we go from here? Because I'm perfectly content for you guys to do nothing. I feel you've done your job. I feel that I don't see the need for competing bills among Republicans until the Democrats at least write down on paper where they stand.
Well, that would mean that you're an intelligent businessman, Sean, because anybody that's ever tried to work out a problem and you have two divergent interests, you have to sit down and compromise and work things out. And if one side keeps bidding against themselves, they're crazy. An intelligent negotiation doesn't do that. And so it's stupid for us to come back. And, in fact, one of the reasons I was upset with cut, cap, and balance, it raises the deficit $2.4 trillion. It gets him through the next, the presidential election without having to come and ask for another increase. It doesn't cut near enough, only $111 billion, but it was the one thing that was going to get through the House. To me, that bill was a compromise, and they won't even come compromise on the compromise. They want us to come out and bid against ourselves when we think this is a good compromise bill. Join us. Let's balance the budget, make at least $100 billion in cuts. We'll raise the debt ceiling, and this will allow us to move forward with a balanced budget amendment that will, when ratified by 3/4 of the states, this will allow us to get the country on track that it can't run off of.
So where we head from here?
I think we've got to. Thank goodness you're on the radio. You've been here 10 years. You weren't there in 1995, but you've really been here this decade.
Well, I was in Atlanta in 95, so... But it wasn't
nationally syndicated like it is now.
It was not. But all right, but this is a really important point, though. What do you think? What are you concerned? And I've got to ask you this question, and I'm not trying to get you in trouble with your leadership. I mean, for example,
Sean, this is me. I stay in trouble around here.
All right. I mean, do you fear? I mean, does our audience need to fear that they're about to cave? I mean, I'm going to be blunt.
It's a concern of mine.
So you think that